Okay, next we have a rule, the rule number 7. When should I use a mid-plane? Do you remember that when we make an extrude, we either make an extrude of blind or make it a mid-plane. So when should we use mid-plane? Very easy and very simple, but you have to focus. Now suppose that we have any drawing in the front, any drawing. Okay, suppose that we have any drawing in the front. If we see in the right, a symmetric shape, like here in this example we have a T shape. Okay, you have to draw a center line in the middle, but vertical center line in the middle of this part. If you see it symmetric, which means that the right part is the same of the left part, then when we make an extrude for the front, we have to make it mid-plane. Okay, so just you draw an imagination center line in the middle of the drawing of the right. Okay, but vertical, not vertical. If you see the right is the left symmetric, if you see it symmetric, then when you draw the front, when you make the extrude of the front, you make it mid-plane. Okay, now in the top, if you see the top of the and you made an imaginary center line, but in this case we have to draw it horizontal in the top. We draw it horizontal. Okay, so we draw an imagination center line horizontal in the middle of the part. If you see it symmetric, which means the upper level or the upper side is the same in the lower side, then we have to make the extrude of the front mid-plane. Okay, so in the top we draw it imagination center line. In your mind, it means in your mind you draw the center line in the middle. If you see it symmetric, top and down, okay, then you have to make the extrude mid-plane. In the right, draw an imagination center line in the middle of the right. If you see it's symmetric, then you have to make the extrude of the front mid-plane. Very simple. Okay, very simple. And we see this slide has the same meaning. The center line for the front, if you have front and right, the imagination center line has to be vertical. Has to be vertical for, okay. Suppose he draw the right and you want to make the extrude for the right. Okay, so you have to draw a center line, imagination center line for the front. If it's symmetric, then you have to make the extrude of the right mid-plane. Okay, so but the center lines for the front and the right is vertical, as we explained in the previous one. It's vertical, and in the top, from the top and the top, the center line has to be horizontal. Okay, as you can see. Okay, so it's the same thing. You have to draw a center line for the top, horizontal. Okay, and if you have a right, you have to make it center line vertical. Okay, if you have just front and right, the center line has to be vertical for either of these. If you have just front and top, you don't have the right, so the imagination center line has to be in the middle, but horizontally. Okay, for the front or for the top. Okay, in this example, should I make a mid-plane here? Okay, the same thing. This is the front. If I just draw a center line in the middle, vertical for the right, is it symmetric? Yes, it's symmetric. So when you make the drawing of the front, you have to make it extrude mid-plane. Also in the top, if we draw a center line in the middle but horizontal, so the upper side is the lower side, so when we make the front, you have to draw it and make it extrude of mid-plane. Okay, now the most important question, okay, because this is the most important question, I'll make it in the next video. Okay, so now go to the next video. Thank you very much.